The following is a presentation of TFNN. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Welcome to Mindful Living, everybody, where we want to help you get and stay healthy, feel good, and live life to the fullest every single day. I'm Allie Ford, yoga teacher and co-founder of GetMindWise.com. My fabulous co-host Tom O'Brien is out today, and of course we're sending him so much love. Our number is 877-927-6648, and today's show is all about selfless service, or karma yoga. Whether it's a random act of kindness, a passing smile, or a hug, there are many ways to give positive energy back to our collective local and global communities and help uplift the world to make it a better place. Now, summer is upon us here in Tampa Bay, Florida at a warm 90 degrees, albeit rainy outside. And of course, all across the nation, children are enjoying their last days of school and preparing for lots of fun in the sun. So stick around to the end of the show, because I'll be sharing some fun and creative ways to get children involved in giving back to their local communities this summer. My distinguished guest today is who I like to call a karma yoga queen, and certainly someone who inspires countless others to get involved. Lisa Rueff, yoga teacher, international philanthropist, and the executive director of Rocker Michael Franti's Do It for the Love Foundation. Lisa has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for global causes and is currently building the Jack Mel Children's Center home in Haiti for 100 earthquake orphan children, as well as a free medical clinic called Angel Wings Clinic. She worked with Sir Richard Branson through his philanthropic arm, Virgin Unite, and has guided over 30 humanitarian-focused yoga and service trips around the world through her company, Yoga Ventures. She's been featured in several publications, including Yoga Journal and Yoga International, and was recently featured on the Truly Amazing Women radio show. Lisa is an inspiring soul that I am blessed to know. And Lisa, I want to welcome you to Mindful Living. Lisa, are you with us?
Honored to be on the show. Hello?
Hi, gotcha. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. First of all, I want to say I'm so honored to have you today on Mindful Living, and thank you for all of the work that you're doing to make the world a better place, and should I say, sharing the love. So how's the weather?
Well, I'm honored to be on your show.
Beautiful. How's the weather in the other Bay Area?
It's about 85 degrees and not a cloud in the sky. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I can see it now. So look, in addition to serving so many others through all the work that you do, you are definitely a person who lives life to the fullest every single day. Tell me about something you did today that was fun or that inspired you.
Well, this morning I had a meeting in the city, and in order to get to the city, you drive under the Golden Gate Bridge. And no matter how many times I drive under the Golden Gate Bridge, I'm just awestruck by its beauty. And
Me too.
Yeah.
My heart it's both singing and crying at the same time, because you know how badly I miss it. So I'm living vicariously through you in so many ways. That's awesome. And that is such a beautiful example of the show, because we're always talking about how to be mindful and just be aware of the beauty around you at all times in life. And I mean, to drive across that bridge and to miss it, somehow possibly miss it, would be such a shame. So I'm so glad you were able to just take it in and soak it up today. So,
well, I am too.
Exactly. I mean, that's what life's all about. So,
yeah.
Lisa, you have certainly done some very fun and fascinating work, and I cannot wait to talk about those projects with you. But first, I'm curious, when did you know that philanthropic work was your calling, and how did you first get involved with this type of work?
Well, I started to actually volunteer in high school in different projects. I remember actually in elementary school, I was a candy striper at one point at a local children's hospital. And maybe I was in the 7th grade when I started to do that.
Wow, that's so young.
I know. But a friend of mine who was in the 7th grade ended up injuring her leg pretty badly and had to be in the hospital for like 3 weeks. I would visit her, and I saw these other girls in candy striping outfits, and I was so curious. And I ended up becoming the youngest candy striper at this children's hospital in Atlanta.
Wow. I would say then it was definitely your calling. You knew at 7 years old that you were here to serve the world. That's pretty awesome.
Kind of off and on. Like in college, I kind of deviated away from volunteering. But, for the most part, volunteering is always or giving back in some way, shape, or form has been a part of my life. And the more I got into the whole yoga, when I started teaching yoga and learning about the different tenets of yoga, I got much more inspired to be able to give back to my community as well as my students in all different kinds of ways, shapes, and forms.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And it is such a big part, I think, of yoga that I think it's so important, that we should always be talking about. When we talk about yoga and union, helping each other, I think it is human nature to help each other in that way. And then how did you first of all, I want to say how inspiring for parents, who have young children to know that there are so many opportunities out there to get, for them to get involved in giving back. And then how did you make the foray, if you will, to this full-time, it's really a profession, a career, because it is work. How did you make the jump to that profession?
So I was teaching yoga full-time. I had been teaching yoga full-time for about 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it was around that time that the earthquake struck in Haiti. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you went in the media, you just heard about what was happening in Haiti, and it was very devastating to me. Mm-hmm. And I also just really wanted to change. I was teaching 17 yoga classes a week at that point, and
wow.
I was getting,
It's exhausting.
It was exhausting.
Yeah, because yoga teaching in itself is a service.
Exactly. So I just started to feel more and more compelled every time I saw just pictures of what was happening in Haiti, knowing how close it was, that I just felt compelled to go down there and be of service in some way, shape, or form. And it was interesting because I have, for years before that, had my own company called Yoga Ventures, mm-hmm. and I led yoga retreats, but they were much more about nurturing yourself and giving back to yourself. We'd go to destinations like Hawaii and Costa Rica, and they were beautiful locations and an opportunity after, for a lot of people that work very intensely or people that just live very hectic lives. Lots of moms come on the trip, that it was an opportunity just to give back to yourself. And right. So it was interesting because when I went to Haiti, it was the first I'd ever been on a full 100% volunteer trip. Mm. And I was blown away by my experiences because in one day, what I was able, you could just see firsthand the effects of what you were doing. And I was, on my first volunteer trip to Haiti, I did everything from volunteering with the United Nations, with the Salvation Army, with UNICEF. Mm-hmm. And we were providing meals, we were working in the different tent cities, and we were doing just a myriad of activities. Mm-hmm. And it was very profound for me because I realized, wow, you actually give back more to yourself when you're giving to others, mm-hmm. and it's a reciprocal thing.
It's so true.
So I could not wait to bring my yoga students down. On my first trip to Haiti, I actually went with another organization, mm-hmm. and the whole time I was there, because everywhere I went, all the different tent cities and the shelters and the makeshift schools, anywhere I went, I just, incorporated yoga into it. And I had all, people from 3-year-old children to who knows how old grandmothers and great-grandmothers that were doing yoga and giggling and really enjoying themselves. And especially after what they had been through, just to be able to bring a lot of fun and joy and lightness into their lives was very impactful, not only for me but for them. you know, it was interesting. About a week after I'd been in Haiti, I went and did sun citations every day in this tent city, and all the people were waiting for me, and they were like, they were just like in a circle, ready to start their sun citation. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing, and especially after what they'd been through, it was maybe a glimpse of hope or connection just to come together and celebrate the fact that they're alive.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh. And so I'm looking at your website now for jackmelchildren.org. And so from that first visit, such a moving experience, now you have really invested yourself in doing something huge for these people. Tell me about the project you have going on there.
So on my first trip to Haiti, I ended up meeting a woman named Bonit Friani. Mm-hmm. She's a local Haitian woman who was born and raised in this area. She then moved to New York for, I want to say, like 35 years and worked as a nurse and raised 2 children as a single mother. When she moved over to New York, she ended up becoming a widow, and so she had to work like 3 jobs to support her kids. Mm. And she returned back to Haiti about 6 years ago and was pretty saddened by how an area where she grew up that was just so lush and ripe with vegetation had been deforested quite a bit and whatnot. And so she ended up creating her own center. And she had a program where at the time before the earthquake, she was feeding about 100 kids and providing for over 50 kids school education. She was doing adult education classes in the evening where she taught math and Creole and French and English. Mm-hmm. She was doing basically providing about 10 different services. She was a registered nurse. I mean, she was a nurse in the United States, so every morning she had a free medical clinic, and she had people come to her throughout the day. Mm-hmm. She had a clothing distribution center, like you name it, she was doing it. And so I started to volunteer with her once I got there after the earthquake, and at that point she was feeding over 300 kids.
Wow.
A day, and she was going to the tent cities. She was providing clothing. She was providing, like, she had a rice and bean distribution that she was providing every day, mm-hmm. and it was all self-funded. She, through her community in New York, she has a very big community of friends and supporters that were helping to finance her efforts, and she basically, she's so accountable that she accounts down to the penny of where everything goes.
Wow.
So I was volunteering with her, and in one day, what she was doing was just incredible. And so I was just mesmerized. And so on my next trip back, when I brought 15 of my yoga participants, we were volunteering with her, and we were in this back room, and we were just sorting through all this clothing that had arrived to take to a nearby tent city. And this woman who helped out at her center came in and started speaking with Bonit in Creole and saying, "Come with me, come with me." So Bonit grabbed my hand and brought me with her, and it ended up that these 3 young girls showed up, and they had nowhere to go. They were about 8 years old, 9 years old, tear-stained, very dirty, and it ends up that and Bonit just welcomed them. She just gave them the biggest hug, and they all started crying, and then the woman who worked at the center with Bonit, she asked that the woman go and, get them clean clothes and a shower and warm plates of food. And she explained that once a week, at least, 2 groups of kids show up with nowhere to go. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But, kids always arrived at her doorstep, and she always welcomed them and brought them in. And it ended up that she had land basically right next to where her property was, and she had the permit to build a children's home, but all of her money she was spending on just her current program. Sure. And it was her wish and desire to build a children's home.
Right.
And she's patient. She had everything. She just didn't have the funding.
Where were they sleeping at this point, Lisa?
She had a small area where she kept the kids until she was able to provide a temporary or some kind of place for them to go.
Right. Oh, she sounds like just such a blessing. And in fact, I'm looking at a picture of her on your homepage now at jackmelchildren.org. And if you'll stay right there, we're coming up on a break, but we'll be back in just a moment with more from Lisa Rueff on both her projects in Haiti and as executive director of Do It for the Love for Michael Frantis. So stay right there. We'll be right back.
In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. What are you doing right now? Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back, folks. I'm here with Lisa Rueff. We're discussing her projects. She's currently building a home for children in Jacmel, Haiti. And Lisa, if you would just continue your story. So you were saying that you saw, do you say Bonite? Is that how you pronounce her name, Bonite?
Bonite.
So you saw Bonite doing all this work on her own, and then you were inspired to somehow raise money to help her?
Exactly. Yeah, she, I got to witness her firsthand how much she was getting done in one day, and then I was just so inspired, and I had already been working with her off and on about 2 weeks in Haiti on the different trips. And so when she basically pointed out the land that she owned, and she pointed out that she had a permit and already seeing the center that she had already created, I knew in my heart that I also saw the transformation of these three little girls going from looking like they had been through hell and back to arrive at her doorstep, just the fear in their eyes and their tear stains and their dirty clothes. They had escaped a very abusive situation. They basically had transformed in 3 days to these kids that were laughing amongst the other kids and just playing and getting well fed and clean clothes, all cleaned up. And it was. I knew I had to do my best to try to help.
Yes. I mean, and because most of these children were orphans, is that correct? Orphaned by the earthquake, yeah?
Yeah.
It's just so, I mean, thank God for you guys. And so how did you go about, I think there are so many people who are interested in finding a way to help. How did you go about starting to raise funds to build this school?
I basically activated my yoga community. I got back to the area I lived, and I sat down with 2 yoga teachers, and I said, how do you guys, would you guys feel if I did a big event where I asked 12 yoga teachers to teach, and each yoga teacher then asked 12 of their students to participate? And, you know, in the yoga world and in the Buddhist world, the number 108 is very sacred. So I asked that, you know, each student, if everyone could either donate or fundraise a minimum of $108. With that platform, we could actually raise quite a bit of money. And both yoga teachers were like, absolutely, we are in, and we will definitely reach out to our students. So I ended up reaching out to 10 other yoga teachers. They all wanted to get involved. And then all these other yoga teachers started contacting me and said, hey, we want to do something too. So we ended up doing 2 events, one in like March and then another one in June to space it out. And I'm in the Bay Area, so we actually had 15 different yoga studios represented. Oh, wow. Which was really nice just to get, you know, people from the East Bay, from the North Bay, from San Francisco, from the South Bay.
Right.
And what was amazing was, you know, these students of teachers that I didn't even know, some got so excited that, you know, they ended up doing all kinds of fundraising. We set every student up that participated. So every teacher we built a web page for them, and then my husband was a mastermind with creating this very interactive website. And then each student got their own fundraising donation page, so they could send out their link to their friends and family. And some people just got very excited about being involved. And mind you, Haiti was still very much in the news, and people knew exactly where their money was going to be going. You know, like we sent pictures of the land and the kids, and what was wonderful is we were working with a nonprofit, and we still are. It's called Random Acts, and they are 100% volunteer-based nonprofit, and so 100% of our proceeds went directly to the children's home, which is kind of unprecedented.
Right,
because most, you know, there's all kinds of different fees.
Right.
So, yeah, it was really exciting. We had very successful events. I want to say each event raised like $35,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then I organized other events, and I invited my family and friends to get involved any way they could. So, like, my nieces in Atlanta did a jump rope-a-thon, and they walked around their neighborhood, and they said, hey, we're going to, you know, my aunt is fundraising to build a children's home in Haiti, and, you know, I want you to sponsor me for how many jumps that I do in you know, in one round on a jump rope.
It's another great idea.
Donate like, $1 if she did 55 jump ropes, or, you know, $30 for however much.
Right.
So it was really wonderful because it was like an opportunity for people to do anything and everything they wanted to do to contribute.
Yeah. And so where is the status of the school now? Is it opened?
We are almost open. We started fundraising in February of 2011, and we broke ground in June of 2011. Okay. And we have gotten very close. Unfortunately, we've got just a couple electrical issues, and then we're still waiting on some solar paneling. What's interesting is with Haiti, once they give you a certain quote, and then once they find out that there's foreign people that have raised the money, then they basically quadruple the quote.
Of course. That happens so many places, like a lot of corruption, not just there, but so many places.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, I'm still amazed and blown away by how much we were, one, able to fundraise, two, able to accomplish. Like I've been to Haiti 15 times since the first trip, and I've led groups, and I remember in October of 2012, we had over 108 Haitian guys. And what's wonderful is we've only employed Haitian workers. And we've only sourced everything from Haiti, so, you know, we're keeping it in country. And
local, right.
There was actually I want to say 108 guys pouring concrete on the roof, which required 2 ladders going up on either side of this building, and the building is 12,000 square feet. And on each ladder, huge ladders, there was a guy on each basic rung of the ladder, and they were passing up cement that was being poured by 2 cement mixers below.
Wow.
And then once the buckets got passed up, they were like shot down by like an attached rope. So it was one of the most unbelievable experiences, just watching these guys all working together in unison, pouring concrete, which had to be done in like a day and a half time.
Right, because it dries. Wow, it's such a beautiful story. And I'm looking at a picture of the building now on your website, jackmelchildren.org. And I know 15 times you've been there, and I know you have plans to go back again in the future. And I just want to invite our listeners, anyone who is interested in getting involved in these projects, visit the website, jackmelchildren.org. Again, not only is Lisa building a school for children, but also a free clinic to serve the community there. And if you are interested and inspired, then I'm sure Lisa would be compelled to plan the next trip to Haiti sooner rather than later. So give us a call if you're interested, 877-927-6648. And now, Lisa, you are the executive director of Do It for the Love, a foundation it was started by Michael Franti and Sarah Aga. And tell us about the very important mission of Do It for the Love.
So the Do It for the Love Foundation is similar to Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we are specific to concerts. So we provide people actually of all ages, children with severe challenges, people of all ages with life-threatening illnesses, children with severe challenges, and wounded veterans the opportunity to go to concerts and to meet and greet their favorite artists. And I'm so excited because about 15 minutes ago, I just got an email from Jack Johnson's management, and we had a Wish grant request come in about 3 weeks ago for a young boy who has a very rare condition, and he's the oldest child in his, to still be living with this condition. He's been in a wheelchair since birth. He's 10 years old, and he's not able to speak. Doesn't really have any motor functions, but he loves Jack Johnson's music. And I just found out today that not only has Jack Johnson's management granted 3 tickets for Max and his parents to go to the concert, but they're also going to do a meet and greet. Oh my gosh! They're like open. So what's so wonderful is we provide these concert experiences for people that are just going through a really challenging time. Again, it's people with life-threatening illnesses, children with severe challenges, and wounded veterans. And it's not only the recipients that get to benefit; it's the caretakers that spend so much of their time and energy just supporting their loved ones. Of course. And then it's also the people in the audience that get to, see and experience what's happening. The founder of the organization, Michael Franti, his band Spearhead, we launched in August of last year, and he has personally done over about 85 Wish grants. Wow. And often he'll, with the recipient's permission, he'll bring them on stage to sing a song. And, the first Wish grant that he did was actually with a couple. The gentleman has ALS, and he met them last year in Florida, in your home state. Yes. It's a wine festival. And he ended up bringing this couple on stage. To their surprise, the couple, their name is Hope and Steve, and Hope had reached out to Michael via Twitter and said, my husband has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and his body is deteriorating. He's a huge fan of your music, and it's most likely going to be the last concert he gets to attend, or the last festival. If there's any way that you could meet him, Michael, it would mean the world to us. And not only did Michael meet them, but he and his partner, who's an ER nurse, Sarah Aga, they spent an hour backstage with Hope and Steve. And then Michael said, do you want to watch the concert from the side stage? And the couple was so excited. And then Michael surprised them and dedicated a song to them and brought them out to sing and dance. Oh, I'm going to ask you to continue that story right when we come back from our break. And I just want to tell you, I've got that sweet picture of you and me up on our website from the Michael Franti tour when you guys were here in St. Pete, Florida. So stay right there, folks. We'll be right back with more from international philanthropist Lisa Rueff. We'll be right back.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor, Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Who says you can't take it with you? TFNN says you can. With your mobile device and TFNN's live radio streams, TFNN has put it all in the palm of your hands. No special apps to download. No subscription fees for live radio or Tiger TV streams. We say you can.
Now let's go over to the dollar, because the dollar is going to be the generator. It is the generator of basically higher dollar, lower market. And what the dollar has done, and this whole uptrend, folks, has just gone sideways. The way it works, folks, is this.
We say you can. The Tiger Financial News Network. Smart investors and professional traders know you can. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Life is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back, folks, to Mindful Living. Our number is 877-927-6648. I'm here with Lisa Rueff, who was just telling us the very moving story of what inspired Michael Franti and Sarah Aga to launch Do It for the Love Foundation. So, Lisa, you were telling us about Hope and Steve and how Michael had them come backstage, right, at the festival and then brought them on the stage.
Yes. He surprised them, and he dedicated a song of his to them, this song called Life is Better With You.
Aww.
And as Hope was dancing with her husband, who was in a wheelchair, she was holding the sides of his wheelchair. And at that point, Steve had lost probably half of his body weight, and he couldn't speak anymore with ALS. But he pointed to her, pick me up. Mm-hmm. And so she basically scooped him up in her arms using her body weight and just cradled him. Lifted him up, and she just held him in her arms as Michael danced all around him and sang the song Life is Better With You.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, which was a very transformative experience, not only for Michael and Hope and Steve, but Michael was telling me the story, and he said that, you know, because he had told about meeting the most inspiring couple backstage. He was telling the audience before he even brought them out and how just inspired he was by their love and devotion. And then as he brought them out and Hope wheeled out Steve, and by the time they all started dancing and Michael's playing the song Life is Better With You, he said he looked out and there was not a dry tear in the entire audience of 20,000 people.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then he shared with everybody how when he was backstage speaking with them and with his partner, who's an ER nurse, Sarah, that they were talking about just how exorbitant medical bills are and the cost of living when something like that happens. And they have a website called hopeforsteve.com. Mm-hmm. And Michael asked everyone in the audience, you know, you guys, you should check out their website. They have a beautiful video about their lives, and there's also a place to donate. And if everybody just donated a couple dollars, we can make a tremendous impact in their life.
Yeah.
And indeed, they ended up raising, just that day alone, thousands and thousands of dollars. So it was kind of the seed that was planted for Do It for the Love.
Yeah, it was launched quite organically, I would say. And I mean, how amazing is Michael as a person and Sarah to, you know, get this request. And I'm sure as a very well-known, successful musician, he gets so many requests. And I mean, to have such an open heart and to say, you know what, let's meet these people. And then they were so inspired and moved by them to launch this organization. And now, as you say, helping so many others. Man, it's so amazing. You know, I'm so grateful there are people like you guys in this world.
Yeah. What's wonderful is with Sarah's medical background and Michael's musical background, they had actually been contemplating or just trying to merge their backgrounds and create something together. So Do It for the Love was the perfect fit.
It sure is.
So it was wonderful that Hope and Steve reached out to Michael and Sarah and were the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture on the homepage of doitforthelove.org, and I see the picture of Michael and Sarah and Hope and Steve. And you can watch the video. You have a really beautiful video about their life on your website, don't you?
We do. It's a very short video, and in like 4 minutes you will have a thing of tissues nearby.
Definitely.
But it will definitely give you a really beautiful background into why the foundation was created, and it's filled with hope. I mean, literally, it's filled with her, but also hope and joy and love. And what's been really incredible is that, you know, I've been very fortunate. I kind of have helped Michael and Sarah from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to them. I mean, they had shared with me about 5 days after meeting Hope and Steve the experience, and I let them know, like, if there's any way I could be involved, I would love to help with the foundation or organization, whatever. You know, they hadn't even come up with a name with it yet, for it yet. And what's been so incredible is I've been able to witness a lot of the wish grants, and actually you were at 2 of them, Allie. I know. What's so beautiful is, you know, for example, when you were both at the Children's Hospital later that night at the show with a woman who was a cancer survivor, and just seeing the thread of love and the coming together of family and caretakers and just the perseverance and the dedication and unconditional love people have, you know, for one another. It's just been so beautiful and profound.
It really is. So many things come to mind. I mean, the first thing you mentioned is that not only a wish for the patient or the person who is struggling, but, you know, their family members who are caring for them, because, you know, oftentimes they're feeling as much pain. They're exhausted and they're worried and they're anxious. And so just to have that time as a family to go and celebrate together, and gosh, you know, how moving music can be, and it just makes you feel alive, and, you know, like you want to celebrate the moment, and gosh, what a great break for everyone. And as you say, just to connect. And I have to tell you, Lisa, that is a day in my life that I will never, ever forget. I have such fond memories of being able to witness Michael play for the kids at All Children's Hospital, as well as meet the family at the concert that night. And, you know, I have to say, there's a special place in my heart for all of this, because if you remember, we were on a retreat together, a yoga retreat. We're guiding together in Dominican Republic when you guys were launching this and announcing the launch of Do It for the Love. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing I have to say is, you know, that's how you know. When I watched how excited you were about this work, every spare moment Lisa had, folks, she was at her computer. She was working very hard, and at the same time with such passion and fire to get this going. And to me, it said, well, you know, this is your calling. To be able to witness that is a very special event in my life.
Well, thank you.
So, you know, you mentioned Jack Johnson, and I know didn't you guys announce that Train was on board now?
Yes. Train was actually one of the first artist that Michael Fonte reached out to once the foundation came about. And Pat Monahan, the lead singer from Train, basically immediately told Michael, wow, what a great organization. We're super excited to be involved, and let us know how we can help. So it's really exciting that basically every musician that we've approached is excited to be involved in the foundation. So
you basically meet with the management teams of those bands, and then they manage the whole process on their own? Are you involved in their wish grants as well?
Yeah, I work basically with the managers once we get a request, and we are asking for 2 tickets to a show, and when possible, if the schedule allows, a meet and greet with the musicians.
That's potentially a lot of work. I mean, the more bands you guys have come on, how many requests are you getting on average?
Each day is kind of different.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, people need to know to go online if they want to get involved, or if they know someone who has a wish, to go to doitforthelove.org. And they just submit a request through your website?
Exactly. Yeah, there's a place. We actually are going to be launching a very interactive website starting next week. Right now we just have that splash page up with the video and just the short story about how it was launched.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, what's wonderful is that Michael and Sarah's vision from the beginning was that it was not just Michael's music. It's everything from bluegrass, opera, heavy metal, country. You know, if you have an artist you want to see, reach out to us, and we will do our best to get you tickets.
Exactly. Oh, it's so wonderful. And I just, let me know when you come back to Florida, please, because I want to come to a concert. What's on the radar?
What's wonderful is Michael has something called the Soul Shine Festival coming this summer.
Yes.
And I will be on, we have a big presence with Do It for the Love at the festival.
Oh, excellent.
And Michael handcrafted this tour, and it's Funny Spearhead. Brett Denman will be playing. The band Soja, a reggae band, will be playing, as well as Trevor Hall. And
Nice.
It's a 35-city tour. It starts June 19th, and it goes, I think, till August 2nd. And we are coming through Florida.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're going to be Boca Raton on July 29th and St. Augustine on July 30th.
Excellent.
And you can visit soulshine.com to learn more about that concert experience. It's going to be really wonderful because he's actually going to offer yoga at every concert.
Nice.
The concert is going to, it's a yoga music festival. So Michael's actually going to be performing an acoustic show at the very beginning of the concert. And there's going to be a yoga instructor, and it's going to be like an hour yoga practice. And then everyone's going to roll up their mats, and the first band will start to play.
How fun. Yeah.
So the whole vision is that Michael just really wanted to get yoga more into the mainstream. And, you know, there's a lot of people that go to concerts. I go to a lot of music festivals, so I can say firsthand that sometimes music festival goers aren't always the healthiest. So we want, you know, I think just to be able to expose yoga to as many people as possible. And, you know, just the idea that, like, no matter what your body looks like, you can do yoga.
True.
You can be, you know, 5'1", you can be 6'6". Michael's 6'6". You can be overweight, you can be underweight, but a yoga mat, you know, like, it will welcome you. And, we just want to be able to invite as many people as possible to celebrate their health and well-being.
That is such a beautiful thing. I mean, everyone can breathe deeply, everyone can calm and focus their minds, and everyone can stretch and move before they get ready to boogie down.
Exactly.
It's
we
perfect.
actually just did a yoga event in Aspen. We had a Do It for the Love yoga fundraiser where Michael played music, and we had about 200 people there, and there were actually 2 people that showed up in wheelchairs.
Aww.
And one of them, his name is Max Grange, and he's 23 years old. He came with 2 women who've been teaching him yoga, and he had his mat. We put his mat front row and center, and he basically was on his back most of the time being stretched by these 2 women as everybody else did this very interactive yoga practice.
Oh, my gosh.
And the smile on this guy's face was just exuberant. And, again, he's confined to a wheelchair. He doesn't really have the opportunity to move his body by himself.
Yeah.
But he loves yoga. And, he also does 2 very beautiful women that have been that voluntarily teach him yoga or offer him yoga a couple times a week. So.
Right. And again, just that feeling of connection. I mean, to be able to be with that many people all moving and breathing and just being alive together, that in and of itself is just a very spiritual experience. You get to witness so many amazing things, and you've traveled to so many incredible countries. Do you have any idea how many countries you have visited?
Well, I have my own company called Yoga Ventures, where I lead people on yoga retreats, humanitarian yoga retreats like the one you and I organized together. And I have led retreats to Bali, to the Dominican Republic, many trips to Haiti, Costa Rica, Hawaii, Peru, Guatemala, India, to name a few.
My gosh, yeah, and you went to South Africa with Richard Branson, right, through Virgin Unite, and you also led a trip to
as
Jordan.
Well as, Jordan with Her Majesty Queen Noor. She was our ambassador.
So. I mean, should I speak further? My jaw is hitting the ground because it's so cool.
I've been very blessed.
Yes, amazing experiences. What's been your favorite place to visit so far?
Oh, I love everywhere. It's hard to say because, for instance, I saw a friend of mine yesterday who just got back from Bhutan, and I was in Bhutan like 3 years ago. It is just like heaven on earth, but I feel the same way about India, even though they're like night and day.
Right.
I feel like anywhere and everywhere you go, to be able to connect with people and the different cultures, and everywhere I go, I kind of try to get away from the tourists and really get into local culture. And if guidebooks say to go one way, I go the other, and just seek out the most authentic experiences I can. And I always try to learn like 10 key phrases of just so I can get by in whatever country I'm in.
Right, which is not easy at all, especially when
not.
At my age you tend to forget things very easily. So you've helped so many people through this selfless service and karma yoga. How would you say everything that you've done has affected your life?
Well, I feel like I try to live in gratitude every day. With the Do It for the Love Foundation alone, I meet people with so many challenging conditions, and that just to be able to have health and well-being is something not to be taken for granted, and just to kind of wake up and be like, wow, I'm alive, I'm able to breathe, I'm healthy. So I would have to say for the most part it's about gratitude and just really feeling a deep, heartfelt sense of appreciation for everything you have. It's interesting, I just interviewed somebody last week for, my friend has a magazine called Origin Magazine, and it's basically this wonderful magazine that's a platform for inspiring people that are just doing great things in the world. And I met a gentleman named Giles Dooley, who's a humanitarian photographer, and he's a triple amputee. He lost both his legs as well as an arm in a landmine injury in Afghanistan in 2011. He's got to be one of the most inspiring people I've ever met, and he just basically, and he's gone, but 18 months later, after he had his 2 prosthetic legs and a prosthetic arm, he went back to Afghanistan to continue and finish the story that he set out to do.
Wow.
And his whole, he captures, his whole thing is not about, it's about like the consequences of conflict and focusing on the human spirit. A very, very spiritually, just an incredible guy, but filled with humor. And he kept saying, I could focus on, I have to focus basically on everything I have now and the blessings that have come into my life since I've become a triple amputee, because if I focus on what I no longer have, I'd be a basket case. And so, like, every day, and he says, I wake up and, I look down and, it's still not, to wake up and not have 3 limbs, it's pretty jarring every morning. But he just, like, I just continue to focus on what I have and the friendships and the family members that just I love so much. And so
talk about the power of the mind and mindful living. I mean,
yeah,
what an example.
Absolutely.
So, well, I could talk to you for hours, and in fact, I hope that I get to see you again very soon. Lisa, you are such an inspiration and a pleasure to know, and I will say that living in gratitude is definitely how I would describe you. You know, from the times I've spent with you, you do not tend to take a moment for granted. Just when, you know, those of us who have been up a little too late the night before want to just kick it on the couch, you're the one to gather everybody and go for a beautiful hike in the mountains. So thanks for being such a beautiful inspiration to this world, and I wish you the best of luck in all your projects.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity and you having this platform. So thanks for everything.
That's right. We'll work together. We'll work together to save the world. Folks, I want to let you know, if you want to get involved in Lisa's projects, please go to her website. So many options. You've got Jack Mill Children, if you'd like to get involved or just raise awareness about the children in Haiti. There are still thousands of orphans there in Haiti, and you can get involved through organizations. Go to jackmillchildren.org. You can also see more about Do It for the Love at doitforthelove.org, or go to Lisa's humanitarian travel business. The woman is so talented. And sign up for an upcoming trip to go abroad or to a country you've never visited and get to know the local culture and get involved in helping people there. As promised, I wanted to give you a few quick tips to get your children involved in giving back to your community this summer. And I have 3 things that I've done with my children that I would recommend to any parents. It's easy to do with your children and super fun. The first is get your children involved in donating. So obviously it's the end of the school year. You have a tendency to go through their drawers and their closets and choose things they've outgrown or perhaps aren't using anymore. But use that as an opportunity to get them involved, have them sit with you, go through their clothes and their books and their toys, and set things aside that they no longer use or have outgrown, and explain to them that you're going to donate these items to a local charity. I realize that sometimes the children we have to edit, they may not want to give things away, but get them involved and then take them with you as you donate those items. Number 2, deliver food to a local food bank. You can go to websites like the one we have here, RCS Food Bank, and take them what they need. And finally, do a cleanup project together in your neighborhood. With that, I want to thank you for joining me for Mindful Living. We'll be back with more the next 2 weeks on how to help teens with communication and with the struggles that they face today. Thanks for everything. See you next week. Namaste.
This is TFNN.